Hey everybody, there's not going to be any video context for a game with this one, but I figured that it'd be nice to have anyone that watches my content to have a nice summary of how I feel about 7.28 so far. I guess we're on 7.28b. I'll specifically talk from the perspective of the carry role, but I'll mention the other roles to make sure you guys are on the same page. So, this is coming from the perspective of the carry role, but I'll talk about what's meta right now.
Banana slam jam.
So at the highest levels, heavy stun supports are really popular. Or spirits, or shakers, shamans, lions, Rubiks, heroes such as this. So when that comes to mind, I think the reason why that is, if you're asking BSJ, why are all these heavy stunners suddenly meta when they weren't before, when none of them really got massive buffs? It's because it's Satanic. I'm like 80% sure it's because Satanic got nerfed. These heroes in the late game used to be relatively underwhelming because their stuns just lasted for like a second on any carry that had a Satanic. So now that Satanic no longer gives status resistance, I think that stunning heroes are much better. When it comes to the offlane, it seems like any hero with looming doom presence, what I mean by looming doom presence is eventually when they get 6 or an item like Necrobook, they boot you out of lane. So Enigma, Beastmaster, Batrider, I've even seen like Timbersaw, Doom, Tidehunter. All these heroes are ones you don't want to lane against once they get 6 and a few items. Underlord also. They just eventually wear you down and push you out of lane. The heroes you don't see very often are like Axe, Centaur. These are heroes that you can bully away and don't have a specific timing super early on in the game where any carry is afraid of them. On top of that, when it comes to mid lane, because there's so many active heroes on the map right now, I think mid farmers are dead. I think if you pick a hero with the intention to farm mid, you're almost effectively griefing the game right now. I think you have to pick, the prime picks are the spirits, Puck. That's pretty much the main heroes right now. Void Spirit, Storm, Puck, Ember are like the top 4 I see in competitive. If you're not one of these heroes, you're either a tower pusher like Death Prophet, or you're a hero like SF that has a lot of damage for the game. That's pretty much what I'm seeing mid every single game in professional Dota right now. None of these passive farmers like Medusa, Zeus, Tinker, none of that shit works. TA, very rarely do you see any of these heroes, and it has to be hyper situational. For carries right now, because of the nerf to Satanic, it feels like against all these stun heroes, the best item in the game is Sanjin Yasha. This is not an item that you have to buy, but it's an item that if the hero likes to buy it, they are naturally a way better hero. If the hero has the option to buy it, they're a way better hero. PL, we often see going Sanjin Yasha now. I've seen a decent amount on Jug. I've seen it on Ursas, Trolls, Terrorblades, Slarks. Even Wraith Kings are going Sanjin Yasha. Alchemist is making a comeback. He goes Sanjin Yasha. Pretty much every hero that likes to be popular right now is either a hero that naturally builds into BKB very early on in the game. We've been seeing some carry Bloodseekers, or has like immense amount of survivability. Juggernaut, Morphling, Slark, PL, Ursa. None of the squishy, non-lane pushing heroes are very popular right now. We don't see very many PAs, Anti-Mages, Drows. These heroes just are not popular right now. They don't fit the meta. If your hero does not independently farm with no help and at least defend buildings, your hero is not good right now in the carry role because there are so many kill threats and there's so many early push heroes that all the heroes you have need to be capable of at the very least defending their tower when nobody else is there. Like if you're a Drow and you show up to your tower and you get 2-man ganked, you're just going to die. But if you're like a Wraith King, a Slark, a PL, these heroes are powerful. I think the only exception to early push heroes not being good, or like early survivable heroes not being good, or lane shovers more so, is like Riki. He's even situational. If you pick Riki into a lot of early momentum, it just doesn't seem like it works, even though in low and mores that might not be the case because people don't force the tempo very well. But what I will say is my top 3 carries right now are Jug, Ursa, and Slark, actually. I actually think Slark, I underestimated him at the start of the patch. If you are a good Slark player, this patch is incredibly strong. I usually go Diffusal SNY. I've seen a lot of the pros go Diffusal Acceptor. I've won my last like 5 games with Slark. I've watched it into DPC and it's done really well. Long story short, if your hero is survivable and doesn't need assistance while farming and can have the option to fight early, you are a good carry. If your hero does not fit that description, you're probably not a good carry. Let's see. I think every lineup needs a hero that pushes lanes by themselves. If it's not in your carry and your last pick mid, you need to be a hero that does that. If you're a carry and your mid doesn't do it, you need to be a hero that does that. Think to yourself, if your team's farming or fighting as 4 and you're by yourself, do you feel strong enough to push lanes? If the answer is yes, then you can pick that hero. If the answer is no, do not last pick that hero, please, for the love of God. I've seen most teams have at least one set of Boots of Travel or one global hero, whether that's Keeper of the Light, Nature's Prophet, Batrider, whatever it is. I've seen some Leshracs recently pop up, Puck going Boots of Travel. This ability to rapidly clear waves, because of how many stun heroes there are, it's even more costly nowadays to show yourself on a creep wave. It's so dangerous that if your hero doesn't have a no shit button, like Dark Pact, or Spin, or Doppelganger, or Waveform, I think Monkey King's actually fallen out of favor just a tad. I think he's still seeing a lot of play, and he's still pretty good, but he's a very hard hero to pull off, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend him in pubs because he usually is not single-handedly survivable and requires his team to execute around him properly. And yeah, that's really it. That's my thoughts, about 5 to 10 minutes there, really quick. These are my overall impressions of the patch, what I've experienced so far, what I've seen in DPC, and hope you guys can turn this into something worthwhile in your games. Thanks for watching. Keep you guys updated. If you liked this video, please like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel, all that shenanigans, because at the end of the day, YouTube does care about that. You may not care about it, I may not care about it, but the YouTube algorithm does. So please do.